Good morning, beloveds. I am the Reverend Edith A Love. It is my great joy, honor, and privilege to be your minister here at UUFBR. It is October, almost Halloween, my all-time favorite holiday. I love the whole idea of dressing up. I love that for one day every year, a bunch of tiny humans take their grown-ups by the hand and go knocking on neighbors' doors. And then they get gifts just for observing the time-honored ritual of saying, trick or treat. The entire holiday fills me with joy. And whether it's true or not, whether you believe in it or not, I also love the idea that it might be a little easier to communicate with people who are no longer in their bodies. I've heard people refer to this as the veil growing thin. You may or may not believe in such a thing as ghosts, and heaven, hell, and afterlife, any of that stuff. But to me, it's soothing to imagine that I might be able to hear one more time from those who have passed away. Death is so final, and it hurts to think our loved ones are gone forever, right? But next Sunday, as a matter of fact, we're having a whole service about those who've passed on. Speaking of the gifts they gave us while they're here and celebrating the lives of those who've come before us and whom we shall follow because we're gonna die, we might as well get used to talking about it. So our spooky topic for today is fear. What are we afraid of? First of all, let's define our terms. Merriam-Webster says, fear is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. And it seems that part of our brain called the amygdala is what's in charge of sudden fear. It developed in human beings millions of years ago to protect us from things like saber-toothed tigers. The trouble is that now our bodies still can't really distinguish between a saber-toothed tiger and an aggressively unpleasant email. Fear can hijack our brains, our speech, our behavior, regardless of the source. But we no longer live in a world with tigers running around, loose anyway, at least where we live, right? And many of our fears are much more amorphous, like the fear of pain or loss. So I could go all kinds of directions, right? What can we say about fear? We could say what Franklin Delano Roosevelt said about fear almost 100 years ago, the nothing to fear but fear itself line. Or I could quote Dorothy Thompson, only when we are no longer afraid do we begin to truly live. That's a good one. But I'm going in a different direction. I've been reading a book called How Not to Be Afraid, 7 Ways to Live When Everything Seems Terrifying by Gareth Higgins. According to Higgins, fear is mostly a story that we tell ourselves. And he asserts that we can change our stories. There were 7 fears that he listed. Those are fear of being alone, fear of having done something that can't be fixed, fear of a meaningless life, fear of not having enough, fear that you'll be broken forever, fear of the world, and fear of death. He goes on in the course of the book to assert why each of these can be seen in a different way. I highly recommend his book. I loved it. It has helped me out a lot. But the overarching point that I took away from his book is that he believes all fears are just stories we tell ourselves, because we only live in now. We can't live in the past. We can't live in the future. So we can choose to tell ourselves different stories right now. In the course of my work as a minister over the past 10 years, I have met people who were afraid of lawnmowers, car accidents, heights, ants, snakes, elevators, failure, being abandoned, and many other things. But most noteworthy to me was the time that I visited someone and they told me they were extremely afraid of butterflies. Yes, butterflies. To her, they were utterly terrifying. We could not sit outside and sip tea because one might accidentally come near her. That particular person was not interested in changing her fear. She simply avoided any possible chance of a butterfly landing. I would offer the opinion that in reality, worrying or being afraid has not added a single minute, hour, or day to our lives. Rather, it all too often just gives us needless stress. And I've probably spoken about attachment theory before, but here we go again. Contrary to the old adage, you can't teach a dog new tricks, thanks to what scientists term neuroplasticity, yes, we can. We can change. Human beings are all capable of growth and change, thanks to that brain-changing ability across the full span of our lives. According to Dr. Thais Gibson, through connection to ourselves and others, we can change the way we approach our fears if there are specific things that we wish to overcome. How do we do that? First, we have to recognize that we're afraid of something. We have to see the pattern. We have to name it, accept it, and then decide if we want to change. And the formula is repetition plus emotion. Our subconscious can only hear positive messages. So instead of, I won't be afraid of whatever it is, you tell yourself, I am perfectly safe with whatever it is. So you figure out the positive override to connect to the thing that has you scared. And then you use that positive emotion every time you come in contact with the issue or thing, whatever it is that you're afraid of. Consistency in repetition plus emotion is the formula. So as an example, I met someone who'd been afraid of something her whole life, which you also might regard as trivial, no more than butterflies. Escalators. She told me she would watch those little silver teeth endlessly rotating down and up and down and up and round and round. And it was terrifying because that monstrous thing was going to eat her toes off, whether she was wearing closed-toed shoes or not. And one day, she told her new partner about that fear, and do you know what they did? They made sure to hold her hand and kiss her every time they had to get on an escalator. And in the span of just a couple of months, her fear of escalators is now completely gone. Poof, disappeared. That is the power of connection. That is the power of love. That is the formula in action of consistency and repetition plus emotion. That is rewiring our brains in real time. And so for you, if there are fearful patterns that you want to break, something that you would like to shift, recognize it and acknowledge it, admit it to yourself, decide if you want to change it. You don't have to change if you don't want to. It's up to you. And step 3, if you want to, you need consistency in repetition plus emotion. So find a positive emotion and thought to override, to rewrite the code in your brain and change your neurons. We can do this. That is one way we can change if we want to. And catch me after the service if you want to talk more about this. I love talking about this stuff. Specifically for us as a congregation here, however, I'm going to shift gears slightly and say, I think there might be fears in this congregation. And I've identified 3 that I've observed. The first is, I know there is fear happening around what's going on in our country right now. It is. It's scary. And it's okay to feel that. Your feelings are valid. In the service on November 9th, we're going to explore that a little bit more, along with a brand new tradition, book communion. In these troubling times, we must join together and support each other. The only way out is through. There are no shortcuts. It takes all of us together to get through what's coming ahead. And it might become more difficult in coming days, and that's why this place is a vital refuge and must continue. Our climate is in grave danger. There is political strife in our nation. Immigrants are being taken from their cars, their homes, their schools, their jobs. This fellowship is a place of healing as well as challenge, a spiritual recharging station for love at the center and justice in action. The second fear that I observed here at UUFBR is fear around whether UUFBR will have enough money. It's scary. It is. I understand that. There is financial anxiety. It's okay to be worried that there might not be enough. As a single mother, I totally understand that. But here is what I know. This congregation has been around since 1961, and decade after decade, you are still doing this. The money has been here, and I would argue it is going to be here. You guys are doing this. You may say it could be all previous people or bequests or a certain minister, but if you hear me say nothing else today, please hear me now. You have done that. Since 1961, you got this. You got this. You can do this. From the very first time the fellowship met, you have done it and you will continue to do it. The universe provided and you provided, and look where you are. I trust that you will continue to do the same. It is my hope, of course, that you'll start to explore year-round stewardship. That would help. But it takes love and effort and dollars to sustain a magical place like this. And I know the wisdom of the collective is so much more than any one person, and you can maintain UUFBR for decades to come. The third fear that I have observed is there is a fear as to whether you will find someone else after I'm gone. My beloved people, as many of you know, after a period of discernment, the board and I were unable to come to an agreement, and I will not be here next year. I had high hopes that we might have a longer time, but that's okay. I love you, and I know this is for the best. It is not easy to say goodbye. I will miss every single one of you. Change can hurt, but it is a necessary part of growth, and someday we might gain perspective. I know you will find exactly the right minister to be your next person standing in this pulpit. And leaving with love is the gift that we give each other to pave the way. A congregation is a living entity, making a journey of learning and discovery. A minister is just there to be a cheerleader and a shepherd, y'all. A minister can offer love, care, wisdom, experience, but it is the congregation who do the hard work of growing and becoming. Ministers help build relationships, but the congregation builds itself. Eventually, in a short or a long amount of time, a season comes when a minister must leave. I know that there are some good memories we've built here together. I want you to know how much I love being a tiny part of your world and sharing my perspectives from this pulpit. As Emerson says of preaching, life passed through the fire of thought. Leading a church community is a sacred duty. This place is holy, and you are doing the hard work of love and justice in a safe space for those who are oppressed in so many ways. And I know that you will continue to build and deepen the relationships I have been blessed to witness in this church community. I am forever altered by the experience. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for allowing me to love you. I believe that learning how to love each other is the entire reason we are here on this earth. And I am tremendously proud of every single one of you. So our relationship will end on January 13th, 2026. According to Unitarian Universalist Ministers' guidelines, we will have no further contact after that day. If we happen to run into each other, it's okay to say hello, but we can't have deeper conversations. And the reason why is to make space for your new minister, whom you will look to for love and guidance. I know that you will hold this shared boundary with love and grace. I treasure every moment that I've had with you and will continue to have with you. I love you. Thank you for allowing me this honor. UUFBR has the wonderful distinction of being a beautiful place with kind, loving, and generous people in a climate that some might consider to be paradise. It's warm and breezy with the ocean very nearby. There are people here who care about taking action to live our values, who care about keeping covenant, who care about keeping this congregation financially viable. We've had growth in exciting new ways, like Creativity Matters, like the homeschool co-ops, and like singing our covenant, which I'm asking you to stay after service for just a minute while we talk about. We're going to need board members in coming months. We're going to need more care team who are going to need some help next year. I encourage you to consider whether you might be one of the people who can step forward and join one of these two teams. We're going to have a ministerial search team forming, and really good people brought me here, so I hope that you will do that again for someone else. The next right person for you is just around the corner. And although you might feel a range of emotions, I don't want you to lose hope. You can do this. If you do the work of learning to mend covenant and form a right relations team, you will be ready for your next minister, and you're gonna be just fine. I know it can be intimidating to talk to someone who you have an issue with, but that is the path of healing. That is the path of growth. That is the path of change. Brene Brown says, we don't have to be scary when we're scared. Let's choose awkward, brave, and kind. And let's choose each other. I choose you, my loves. I choose to talk about the hard stuff. I'm almost done, I promise. I have a poem by Becky Hemsley I want to share with you, and then I'll wrap up. He asked of me why it was raining. He asked, was it tears from the sky? And I replied, yes, that this was the case, that even the heavens can cry. He asked me, what was the thunder? He said, it was hurting his ears. And I told him that even the clouds need to scream so that somebody hears. He asked of me what was the wind and why it was whirling and swirling around. And so I explained that even the sky takes deep breaths when it's trying to calm itself down. Yet often we keep our tears secret. We swallow our own cries for help. We think that it's weak to be catching our breath, so we don't let our struggles be felt. And yet if the clouds never emptied and the sky never screamed through the storm, it would sit still, growing darker and darker until it was simply no use at all. So throw all your fears to the wind, my dear, and toss all your tears to the clouds, and you will discover the infinite power that heavens hold over the ground. You see, it's normal and natural to struggle, and it's healthy and human to cry. And if anyone questions your power, my darling, just tell them it's matched by the sky. And that is why I urge you, please don't hold it in when you're hurting, your feelings are injured, you feel upset with somebody, go talk to them. And if you're afraid to talk to them, come to me and we'll talk to them together with you. We can do this. Whatever it is, whatever's upsetting you, bring it to me or your therapist, or let's talk to them together. Because we can do this. We really can. We can do hard things because that's what covenant is all about. 17th century British author Thomas Traherne said, you never enjoy the world aright till the sea itself floweth in your veins, till you are clothed with the heavens and crowned with the stars. We are all a part of the vast interconnected web of life. And in this country, we're going to have to network and band together to enable all of us to survive. We are each and all intimately intertwined in the fate of the planet and each other. What harms one of us harms all of us. Franz Kafka said, you do not need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen, simply wait, be still, be quiet, and be solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. If y'all take the time to contemplate what's in front of you in this historic moment, it is my hope that you will find this a tremendous opportunity rather than something to fear. This is a chance to choose a whole new way. I believe that you can do it, that you can push past what you're afraid of because the world is at your feet. You can do anything you set your mind to. So I believe you should go out there and change things for the better, my beloveds, even more than you already do. I love you and I believe in you. You've got this. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.